I've never talked about it. Like my family knows and like my close friends know, but I've never like actually talked about that part of my life because nobody ever asks. They're just like, well, how was Idol? Hello, everybody out there. This is Jordin Sparks, and this is my very first episode of What's Your Spark. I cannot believe that this is happening. I'm super, super excited. I've always wanted to do something like this. I love people and I love stories and I love learning about everything. And what better way to do that than to be able to just sit down with people from all walks of life and basically just have a conversation to get to know them. But today is going to be an episode to catch you up on what's been going on with me. You guys might know me from American Idol, and it has been a long time. It's been a long time since then. I won in 2007. I was the youngest idol to ever win, and still, actually, I think. And I've been making music and acting and hosting and momming and living and wifing ever since. And it's been a very beautiful, challenging, exhilarating, slightly traumatic career. And I'm just really grateful that you guys are here listening with me. And I hope that you will continue to stay with me as I invite guests and ask them what their spark is, what drives them, what lights them up, what makes them feel like they can do anything, you know? So I hope that you guys will stick around with me. And yeah, welcome to What's Your Spark? All right, so why did I want to do this show? Why did I want to do What's Your Spark? I've had a very long career that I am extremely proud of, and music and my career has taken me to so many different places. I've gone to different places around the world. I've been in rooms that I never thought I'd be able to get into. I've met people that I never thought I would cross paths with. And in each of those moments and each of those connections are stories and chances to get to know people outside of how you know them. Sometimes I'll be backstage and I see something, I go, oh, that's odd. Like I never thought that they would do something like that, or never thought that somebody would pursue this type of avenue knowing what they actually do or what we know them for. I'm a very, very curious person. I love to just know things and I love to learn about different things. So I think it's a great opportunity to be able to sit down and just share other people's stories that you might not have known before. The other side of wanting to do this podcast was because I want people to get to know me better. I think there is sort of an open book that you kind of have to be coming from a reality show and coming from a show like Idol where people really invest in you and get to know you. But that was almost 18 years ago. And I've learned a lot. I've grown up a lot. I have shed my skin. I have elevated. I have stepped into who I am as a woman and as a human being and a mom, a friend, a wife, a musician. And I want you guys to meet me here at this crossroads in my life and where I'm at. So you'll get to know all my quirks. Lord, I'm not sure if you guys are ready to know all that there is about me, because I'm pretty weird, strange, quirky. I'm all of those things. And I'm excited for you to get to know all those facets of me, things that I love, that I'm passionate about. So I've learned so much throughout my career and the last 18 years of living that I feel like I have a great space and point of view to not necessarily give advice, but, you know, inspire other people. Like maybe they just need that little source of encouragement. Hopefully some of the things that I say will touch you and will inspire you to either take that chance or, you know, to pick yourself up off the floor. Because Lord knows I've had to do it many times. I'm very grateful to be starting this journey. So I hope that you are as curious as I am. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a really good time. So let's start at the beginning then, where you guys met me. American Idol. I auditioned when I was 16 years old. I was such a huge fan of the show. I honestly couldn't wait to audition more than getting my driver's license. I could not wait to turn 16 so I could audition for American Idol. And that was kind of my headspace. Not necessarily the show itself, but music was what I was pursuing. I knew that I wanted to do it. I was singing in church. I was singing in school. I was doing competitions, local competitions. I was doing karaoke. I was singing at little competitions at Fish Fry Fridays at a place called Mr. Lucky's in Arizona. And then that turned into like more national competitions, Estes Park, Music in the Rockies, Gospel Music Association. I auditioned for Star Search. I did America's Most Talented Kids. And then that all led up to auditioning for American Idol. So my mindset was very much focused on this is what I want to do. And I knew from a very young age that music was what I was going to be doing. I was going to be a singer. It was plan A or plan A. And I was going to do, everything that I could to be able to do that. Idol was very influential to me growing up. I remember watching Kelly Clarkson win, and her winning moment, the pyrotechnics were going off and people were crying and she was crying and she's singing this song and everybody's just so affected by what she's doing. And I just remember looking at her, and I looked at my mom and my dad, and I just was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. Not necessarily Idol, because who knew that it was going to be around as long as it's been, but I knew that I wanted to sing and use my voice to touch people in the way that she was touching people. And my mom was like, all right, well, if that is what you want to do, then you have to focus, you have to practice, all of the things that parents obviously say. And they were both very encouraging. My grandma, my Nana, was my manager. We called her Grand Manager. That was on her business card at the time. And that was basically all I really ever thought about was music. Even in school, like I loved to learn. I didn't really like the school setting, but I loved to learn, but I couldn't wait to get out of school so I could sing. So that's really where I was. I feel like I've always been an old soul. That's what people have told me for most of my life. So I felt like I was very sure of my decisions. I had a sense of confidence at that young age that I don't know if I even developed it. I didn't really consciously go, okay, I'm going to be confident in this. I just knew that I could sing. I really loved my voice. And I thought that if I had the opportunities given to me, that I could elevate myself into different positions that I wanted to be in. So I did have a really strong belief in myself at a very young age. I think that my being so young when I was on the show helped me not really think too deeply on what was being said online or what the judges were saying. Like, it didn't really get under my skin. Nothing really got under my skin in that way. And I think it was because I was young. I was just like, oh, lights, camera, Ryan, Paula, Simon, Randy. I was just thinking more of things like that as opposed to, oh, I can't believe they said that to me. And that really, I think, helped me out in the competition. And throughout each week, it was definitely a grind. I'll have to go into that on another episode because that is a long story. Essentially, as my star was rising, things really went kind of crazy in my personal life. And I think that that is something that we can all relate to, trying to achieve or get to this certain point. And once we get there, it's so amazing, but there's so many other things that happen in the background or end up happening in spite of it. But that's the balance, right? That's the balance of life, of light and dark, of joy and pain. You can't have one without the other. And so there was a lot that happened during that time. I think it propelled me forward. It also really changed the way I looked at the world, and it changed the way I kind of carried myself as well. And I still feel that 17-year-old girl with me. I am still the bubbly 17-year-old that walked into that audition room and Simon was like, you are 11 lumps of sugar in my coffee. I am probably still 11 lumps of sugar, if not more. But I feel like I'm eternally at that space in my heart. I still feel so excited about what I get to do. I still feel so green sometimes. Like, I feel like I'm still just in the beginning of my career, like just starting everything new. And I carry her with me. I carry that excitement and that wonder and that I can't believe I get to do this with me in everything that I do, because life is challenging. Life can get really hard. And I feel like if I didn't carry her with me, that I could be a lot more bitter and jaded about some of the circumstances and things that have happened to me in my life. But I remember her. I remember the 17-year-old girl that walked in there full of wonder, like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And so that's where I am now. I carry her with me, but I am in this space now of really stepping into who I am. I know that we talk a lot about, oh, just be yourself and you got to know who you are. But it takes a lot of life and a lot of experiences to finally kind of come into that space, and awareness. It takes a lot of awareness to come into the space of like, oh, I know who I am. I know what my purpose is. I know where I'm going. I know where I came from. And when all of those things align, there's such a powerful feeling that you get, a powerful energy that kind of just covers you. Like it's like buzzing under my skin, kind of like I feel like I'm in that space right now. Not that I'm buzzing all the time, but every day I wake up, I have an idea of where I'm going and what I want to do. And it took that 17-year-old girl believing in herself, walking into audition and saying, okay, I can do this. If all of the variables line up, I think I can win this. And I still feel like that's my outlook. If all the variables line up for me, I can still win whatever it is, whether it's like, okay, I'm going to be great at this dinner, meeting these people I don't know, or I'm going to make this new album, or, making sure I wake up that day and I'm like, I'm going to win this day parenting today. Like it's going to be a good day. I always carry that with me. The glass to me isn't half full or half empty. It's always full. The glass is always full. There's air in there and there's water. It's always full. I always try to see the silver lining in everything. And I think, honestly, I was just born that way. I was just born with sunshine in my veins. So not that I don't ever hurt, or I don't doubt myself, or I don't feel like I can't do something. But that feeling inside of me that believes that the sun is going to rise again always overtakes whatever else is going on. So during American Idol, everything was so new and so fun. And I was on like one of the biggest TV shows. And I was competing to win this dream that I had always had. And as like I said before, as my star was rising, my personal life was kind of in shambles, to be honest. The challenges came from, I was the only contestant that had to do school on my season of Idol. I was required to do 3 hours of school every single day on top of the schedule that we were holding, which was insane. It was absolutely wild. I fell into bed exhausted every single night. But I had to do school, so I had to keep up with that on top of all the pressure of like, oh, you're on TV every night and you have all of these things that you have to do, and just being kind of thrown into the fire. And then on the other side of things, I lost 4 people that were really close to me during that time. We flew in to stay here for like Hollywood Week and all that stuff. I don't know how they do it now, but at the time when you flew into LA, you didn't leave. Like you were in a bubble, you stayed there and you didn't leave. And my best childhood friend from my neighborhood passed away. And I just remember thinking, I have to go home for this. And I was so grateful that they let me travel home to be able to, say my final goodbyes to her. But that really, really affected me. And then while I was on the show, my great uncle passed away. And then both of my great grandmothers passed away when I was on the Idol tour. And I got to know my great grandparents and my great uncle. I was very blessed to be able to have a lot of time with them on this earth. And it was just really hard. I was, going on TV shows and my song was on the radio and I was making my album and I was touring, and off the stage, I was, an emotional wreck. Lots of people had passed away. My parents were separating. I was away from my family for the first time. I was away from my brother, who's like my best friend. So there was just so many things that were happening at that time that just made it so overwhelming. I think the other thing too that I think people would say, okay, that kind of makes sense. I started having panic attacks really bad, and I didn't know what they were. I just thought I was dying. And I remember right before tour, I had to wear an EKG so that they could just see what was going on with my body, and I had a panic attack. And I was walking through the hotel, and I just like stopped in the hallway, slid down on the floor. I had a paper bag with me because they had told me, they were like, if it happens, make sure you have that. And I just remember breathing into this bag, and it was right before we were supposed to leave for tour. And I think my heartbeat had gotten up to 220 beats per minute. I was freaking out, guys. I was freaking out. And I've dealt with it, figured out how to handle all that stuff. I haven't really had panic attacks since, but it makes sense because there was so much happening and I just didn't know how to handle everything. So essentially, Idol is definitely like a boot camp for artists. You go through all that stuff. You're learning about media training, stage performance, picking out your outfits, interviews, how to interact with people, how to collaborate with people. But it doesn't teach you how to handle everything that comes with you because the pressure just feels so immense. And as a girl who I was just a high school student. I went from being a high school student to like one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. And it was wild. But I'm grateful for the people that I had around me. I'm grateful for my family, my friends who supported me. The Idol cast that I was with, so it was the top 10 of us that toured. They were my family. They really just surrounded me with love and uplifted me and made me laugh. And I definitely go towards comedy and laughter whenever I'm going through things because I'm like, well, I don't want to cry. So let's laugh instead. And that really helped me. I still get emotional when I think about that time. I was so young. I didn't know what I was doing. Whoa, sorry. Whoa. But I knew that it was what I wanted. Like, I wanted to do this so badly. And I've known since I was young that my voice, I had to use my voice. I had to use it. I had to sing. I had to tell stories that touched people. I had to get on stage and sing songs that made people feel something, and I still firmly believe in that. And now this podcast is another way for me to use my voice. So these are my experiences and my thoughts. And I know you're seeing me cry right now. Lord Jesus. Okay, I can do this. I won't cry every episode, I promise. I promise. There's a lot of the same emotions that I felt then, I feel now, because this is a new venture. It's a new thing for me. And I am a very private person, actually. Like, I feel like people feel like they know a lot about me, which is true. You guys have watched me grow up. You guys have watched me in my relationships. You've watched me with my son. Like, you guys have literally grown up with me, and I'm excited to be doing something new and to let you guys in a little bit more on who I am, where I'm at, and how I feel about things. So I'm not going to apologize for crying because I think being emotional and having empathy is a superpower. So thank you for seeing my tears and holding them, because there'll probably be more. There's going to be a lot more laughter than tears, though, too. But yeah, so that is, man, in a nutshell, kind of where I came from, where I'm at now. And I can't wait to share more stories with you. I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of thoughts. So I have a lot of things that I want to say, I want to share. And we're going to take this journey together. So it'll be new for me. It's new for you. And we'll kind of just discover everything as we walk hand in hand. Come sit down with me. I've never talked about it. Like, my family knows and like my close friends know, but I've never like actually talked about that part of my life because nobody ever asks. They're just like, well, how was Idol? All right, guys, I'm back. We're back. I've gathered myself. So after talking about all of that, sitting here kind of realizing what my spark has always been and why I keep coming back to it and I carry it. That 17-year-old girl who had such a joy and zest for life and just couldn't wait to learn everything and get to know everything, absorb everything. I have carried that girl with me through every version of myself up to the one that you see sitting before you. I love life. I love joy. I love love. I love laughter. I love comedy. honestly, I can say that I love sadness. I love, you know, fear, nervousness, or anxiousness. Like all of the things that we feel are there for a reason, and they signal us and they spark us to make the decisions that we make, or plan the goals, or write out the visions that we have for our lives. And I feel like a lot of times now we see, like, hold it inside, kind of bottle it up. There's a lot of talk about therapy and, letting things out. But I think not just in a private, obviously do it in a private space if you need to, but to be able to be okay with feeling all of those things and bringing them into what you do, because we're all human. We all feel these things. And myself now, I still draw on that young girl and that joy that she had. I bring it into the music that I'm recording. I bring it into parenting with my son. Like, I've never been a mom before. Every day is a new day. And I'm just like, okay, what can I do for DJ today that I loved when I was a kid, or that maybe I felt like I didn't have when I was a kid? With music, I did lose my spark a little bit for music prior to lockdown and all the craziness that was 2020. Let's never do that again. But having the time to myself to not have the pressure of everything else that comes with my career that I'm so grateful for, but it kind of pushes music to the backside. Like, oh, you've got to do this now because you won't be in the studio for another 3 months, that kind of like pressure. I recorded over 180 songs within that time frame, like 2020 to 2022. And it was that zest that I needed. It was the spark that I needed to dive back into music, to really pour out what I had been feeling and everything that I had learned from the few years prior. But I feel like we all can ignite our sparks and like these huge flames, and like everybody can kind of see it. They're like, oh, they're motivated, or oh, she really knows what she's doing, or she's in alignment. But then on the other side of things, it is completely natural and completely okay to lose your spark, to feel like that doesn't inspire me the way that it used to anymore. I don't feel connected to it the way that I used to. That was how I felt about music for a little while. And I felt like I kind of was like, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care about this. Who's going to listen to it? Why would I put all this work in? Like all those questions that you kind of say to yourself. But as I started writing again and trying to just put no pressure on myself, like, okay, just go in there and do what you love. Just sing. It came back. So I have lost and reignited my spark many times. Sometimes it would fill each piece of the pie. There's like mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, familial, romantic. Like there's all these different pieces. And sometimes my spark would, go out on all of them. Sometimes at the same time. Sometimes my spark would be only on one section of the pie and then just dim in others. But I think that that's the beauty about who we are and what we can do. We as humans are so cool. We are so amazing. And we have just such a big spectrum or prism of like all the colors that we can be. Sometimes we're blue. Sometimes we're orange. And I think that it's just a beautiful thing that we all get to experience this together. So on this ride, some days I'll be blue. Okay. Some days I'm going to be red. Some days I'm going to be orange. And some days I'm going to be pink. And I think you guys can understand what that is in relation to emotions. But I'm willing, I'm open. I'm open to being able to talk about these things finally. I have a lot to say. And I have a lot that I've experienced that I think could really help other people. Anybody who's listening right now, hopefully there'll be something that I say or maybe something that I do that might inspire you or might make you go, oh, I never thought about it that way. And in turn, whenever I have guests, I hope that, and I feel like I'll be able to sit and talk to people and I'll be inspired, or I'll think, oh, I never really thought about it that way. But I think that's the best space that we can be in, is to be open to learning and be grateful that we get to be here. All right, guys. So over the next however many episodes I get to do, I'll be talking directly to you guys. My stories, my experiences, my quirks, my recipes, my ideas, music, all of the things. But at the same time, I'll be having on guests that are some of my best friends. I want to talk to people that I find the most remarkable. Some of them are going to be people you know, whether it's from TV or music or sports. Some people you might not know at all. They might be my besties that I've grown up with. My husband, I'm definitely going to have him on. I might have DJ, we'll see. But I'm really excited to get to talk to people that I know and love and also find out what their spark is and being able to kind of fan the flames of what we love together and see how we can inspire each other. I want to be able to talk to them about what are the things that light them up? What are the things that really get them going? It may be what we know them for. It may not be. It could be something completely left field. And that's what I'm most excited about. And along the way, we'll be encouraged. We'll get really cool advice and, again, recipes, because I like to eat and I like to cook. You know, different inspiration that we can draw from and pull from. So as long as you guys are here, I will be here to light you up. Let's find out what your spark is together. I'll see you soon. We did it! Oh my God.